everyone, today in this video I'm going to be checking out the Yeedi. This is their C12 Combo. So we have the robot vacuum cleaner and we have a fully functioning cordless vacuum cleaner with self-emptying base for both units. This is the optimal setup and a game changer in my opinion for whole house cleaning. Your robot vac, that'll clean about 90% of the way for you, maybe 95% depending on your layout. So that does that day in and day out for you without you having to lift a finger. And then for that final 5%, you can use the cordless vacuum cleaner to get those areas like your steps, furniture, or anywhere else that the robot vac can't get around your house. And everything's all in one unit. Yeedi did send me this product, but I want you to know we have over 70 plus robot vacuum cleaners here. Another one is not going to move the needle for us. I want you to know that any opinion expressed in this video is strictly my own. That being said, if you're interested in this product or you want to find out more about it, the link to it will be in the video description. Now let's go ahead, let's open it up and see what's inside. Here are some of the contents. First, we're just going to show you the cordless vac contents because there's so much jam-packed into this box. We'll start too with our product literature. We have a full instruction guide and manual in multiple languages going through everything you need to know in tons of detail. We have our 1-year warranty information card, FCC info, and a really helpful quick start guide in color, charts, diagrams, all of that good stuff. They walk you through initial setup for the station, the robot, the vacuum, and the Yeedi mobile app. Next, you'll find our water tank here. This is for the cordless vacuum cleaner to give us some mopping functionality. 2 included mop pads that are microfiber, easy to wash, clean, and replaceable. Clip for the vacuum to store onto the station. We have our ZeroTangle main brush roller here with LED lights. See it from both sides. The underside here, a couple channels for larger debris. Take a look at that main brush. Love the red accents and color. And then you can see how it's going to be able to pivot to the left and to the right and up and down right there. Very flexible design at that base. Then we have the stick part of our stick vac right here. Black and silver color scheme. This does have a metal body. And for the cordless vacuum cleaner itself, we have a removable battery that pops right out, which is great. So easy to replace and add more of these. It has a 2000 milliamp hour capacity and they just slide right back onto the vacuum. Just like so. Max indicator on the dustbin. Take a look at it from the top, the other side, front on. Here's a look at the back side. We have our controls here, power, and we have our suction settings. There's no trigger to hold down or press or anything like that. Underneath here, this red button, that's actually what we can press if we want to remove the dustbin for any sort of filter cleaning replacement, or if you ever need to give it a manual clean, you can just gently pull it out like so. And see that right here. Both sides of the filter. That just fits right back in there. Now let's check out the RoboVac. Starting with the top of the Robot Vac, we got the Yeedi logo and branding on our LiDAR navigation module, 3 control buttons, a removable top cover with some packaging material that we need to remove before use. This will reveal a QR code for setup as well as a removable dustbin. So we can look at that from all different sides and angles. This is where it's going to self-empty. This is where we can manually get in there to clean. They even have washing instructions there. We can pop this filter out too to clean and replace as needed. And there's a look inside with the dustbin removed. Take note that we also have our Wi-Fi indicator light inside the vacuum from the top. So if you need to get access to that, you'll be able to see the status with the cover removed. Next, we're looking at the very front with its navigational bumper and sensors. We have some more sensors on the side right there. Some exhaust on the back side and our dust outlet, as well as our charging contacts back here, some more venting, and some more sensors on the other side of the bumper, and then we're back to the front. And last but not least, the underside of the vacuum, 2 spring-loaded drive wheels, omnidirectional wheel. We have our cliff sensors, side cleaning brush that's included. We'll have to install it. Red on red, it just snaps right in place. So just line it up properly, square, boom, there you go. Then we have our main brush roller here that's removable, replaceable, and easy to clean. Additional product info, and you'll see on the back side right here, just a lot of extra area where on other similar models, you would have your removable back that would give us access to a mopping module. Now it's time for our last contents here, the station itself with 2 base plates that we can install, one for the robot vacuum cleaner and one for the cordless vac. Before we get this set up though, let's take a look at it. From the top, we have our self-empty and storage section for the cordless vacuum cleaner that's going to drop right down in here. On the right-hand side, we have our release button to get access to the dustbin. This has their famous bagless design, which is awesome. And then you can just empty out all of the contents that get collected from the cordless vacuum cleaner and your RoboVac right there and easily remove and install as needed. Next, looking at the front, we got the Yeedi logo and branding. We have an indicator light here, charging contacts for the robot vac and self-empty chute there. With this dustbin being transparent, we can see in real time how full it is. On the left-hand side, we have accessory storage here for our cordless vacuum cleaner. We have an included crevice tool, and we have a multi-purpose tool right here, 2-in-1, brush and crevice, upholstery, whatever you need that tool to be. And then that's just shuts again like that. I love the red accents all throughout. Next, we're looking at the left-hand side here. This is where we can install the included clip, which I didn't show you. So here is the time for this to shine. That will snap right in place there to hold our vacuum upright. And here's a look at the right-hand side with that transparent dustbin again and the max indicator front and center there so you can see when it's full. Here's a look at the back side. This is the top, this is the bottom. We have an on and off switch right there, integrated power cord and cable and some additional product info. And lastly, here's a look at the underside of the station. This is the back side. This is the front where the RoboVac will sit. And we have a lot of nice grip feet here. Now let's go ahead, let's get this station set up. First thing we're gonna do is remove this cover. It just pulls right out. We're gonna take the included clip. We'll follow the instructions here, but basically you only have one way to get this in there, and then you lock versus unlock. So just twist it up, and now we have our clip installed. And in case you can't see, maybe you'll be able to see it on the camera, we even have a little line up here so we can easily position it. Now we're going to install our 2 base plates here. This one's for the cordless vacuum cleaner. We have a little clip right there and a slot cut out there where we can install this one. It's just going to look like that once it just snaps in place and is resting on the ground. And then similar thing for the main robot vacuum cleaner base plate right here. We have these 2 raised edges on the end that will fit right there. Nothing's going to snap in place. That will keep these here if you want to move it around. So it might be best for you to place these on the ground first and then rest and tip the station on it. So you can do something like you see right here. Position both of them, because see that one already just popped off, but position them where they need to be and then just gently flip it over. Might take you a second, but I know that one's in place now, and we'll just line this one up accordingly. And there we go. We have both of them set up here, and now we're ready to add our vacuum cleaner and cordless vac to the base. RoboVac's coming in first right here, just like so. That's all set and ready to go. Now for the cordless vacuum cleaner, we'll do the same thing. Basically, male to female end will snap in place, and we can take this accessory now and drop it in on the side right here, and it just clips right in to hold it in place. And then we can charge up the main unit here by just resting it into the station like so. So now we have everything all set up and ready to go to start cleaning. with our first clean out of the way, let's take a look at the results. We'll start with the RoboVac first, then we'll get to the cordless vac. So looking at the RoboVac, so far so good up at the top here. And now we can look at the contents in the dustbin. I'll go ahead and pull that out. So we have lots of goodies in there to dump out and take a look at here in just a second. While we're on the RoboVac, let's look at the other side underneath. Check for any tangles, hairs, things like that. Not bad. A couple carpet threads and fibers, a human hair there. But this looks a lot better than what we typically see on a main brush roller. We'll pull that out too. So every once in a while, keep an eye on that. You might get some hair tangles on both of the sides right there. And then keep an eye on the side cleaning brush as well too. Sometimes you'll notice some human hair, longer hairs and threads wrapped around there. But not bad at all. So far, so good. Again, I can't stress enough that this self-empties, so you don't have to do what I'm doing here. I'm only doing this to show you the contents that are inside. So let's go ahead and dump it out. Get all the crumbs, dirt, dust, and debris out. Take a look at our mesh screen in there. We have a lot of dirt and dust on it. We can pop open the filter too if you guys want to see that. Slight discoloration so far on the inside. Outside looks good though. And then all of our pet hair, human hair, crumbs, dirt, debris, some stickers from my kids. You get the idea of what you can expect realistically vacuuming up around your house. A lot of hair and a lot of really fine dirt, dust, and crumbs. Looking at the cordless vacuum, we'll start with the main brush roller here. Your typical dirt and dust starting to accumulate on the inside of the cover here. We'll look at it underneath. We actually have some hair tangles and threads collecting, kind of all throughout, but definitely towards the center here. So you will want to cut those away, detangle, and maintain that pretty frequently. Then we got some really fine dirt and dust starting to collect and settle on the outside right there on the main brush roller. And on the vacuum itself, fairly full dustbin already. We got that max line there, a lot of hair clumped up above that. Now again, keep in mind, this will self-empty this. I'm just doing this to show you the contents. So we'll empty this now to see what it actually vacuumed up. All right, take a look at that massive hair clump right here. What's actually most impressive to me is in that hair, you'll find really fine, almost powdered sugar-like dust. So that's what it's able to get up and trap in its filter and in the dustbin. It's not exhausting that back through the air in your house. So it's trapping that really fine, like I said, powdered sugar is the best way to describe that really fine dirt and dust that it's actually able to vacuum up, in addition to the massive clumps of human and pet hair here. I see another sticker, a hair tie from my girls. I mean, you get the idea there, but this is just one pass of the upstairs, and it's that dust in there. That's really rather impressive. Now's a good time to go over the Yeedi app as well too. Free app available for iOS and Android devices. Here's a look at our C12 combo all set up and ready to go. We have a couple of quick settings. We can start a clean, we can send it back home to recharge, or we can select enter to go into our device settings. This will just be a brief overview of some of the key settings, features, and customization options that you have. But we have our main map set up there. We can view our cleaning log. We can have it return to station. And then we have 3 tabs at the bottom, auto, room, or zone cleaning. So you can drag and drop multiple zones, pick and choose multiple rooms, or have it clean everywhere under the auto setting. And we can adjust the suction power, 4 different suction settings, and up to 2 cleaning passes. We have additional information, top right-hand corner. We basically have our map display options. We can check or uncheck certain things that we may or may not want to see on our map. We can edit our map here. It supports multi-level mapping up to 3 different maps. And you can edit your map to set up things like virtual walls and boundaries, whether that's linear or rectangular. You can pick and choose your virtual walls and barriers here. Just drag and drop, and you can set up no entry or no mopping. So you have both of those options there on the map. Then you can redivide, combine rooms, all of that right there. And if you want to map and create a new map, just choose the top right-hand button, map your home. Lastly, we have our settings gear icon, top right-hand corner. We can view our cleaning log. So we can see a breakdown of the runtime, the path that it took, where it was able to clean during that time. We also have scheduling options, so we can add a schedule. We have our maintenance option here too, showing us when it's time to replace things like the filter or other components. We have our sequence settings, so we can adjust the sequence where we want it to clean on our map. You can specify that. We have our intelligent settings, auto empty on or off, auto suction boost on carpets, on or off. More settings here like child lock, auto resume, instant auto empty. So spend a minute looking at those features and choosing which ones you want to enable or disable. Language options, we can learn more about the robot. Help section, and lastly, we can find the robot if it's missing around the house. It will identify itself right there. So a very simple app, but easy to navigate and choose the clean that you want and customize settings further, like building out your map or some of those intelligent cleaning settings. Now we're gonna see how the Yeedi C12 Combo stacks up against the competition in regards to over 70 different robot vacs that we personally tested and reviewed, and over 20 different cordless vacuum cleaners. So let's go through, we'll look at some key metrics and measurements and things that we record in-house here, as well as overall specs and features. So hopefully you can get a better understanding of this vacuum unit and package as a whole, as well as individually as both the robot vac and cordless vacuum cleaner. First up, max suction power measured in pascals for our robot vac here, 10,000 pascals. The 3i S10 Ultra is the highest we've personally tested at 13,000. So pretty substantial amount of pascals here with this vacuum, which is a little bit surprising at this price point for what this unit is. So that's great to see. It's almost double your typical robot vacuum cleaner. Usually this isn't found on vacuums like this. It's found on flagship models. And similar story with max CFM, just like pascals in your suction power, the higher this result, the better. We record and measure this one in-house. 10.4 is a very respectable and solid value here compared to the average of 6.8. So where does that data leave us? Well, that's why we do our carpet deep cleaning test, where we embed coffee grounds into carpet and we measure before and after with the vacuum going over it. So we got a score of 85 out of 100. That's actually 2 points below the average. So even though we have double the suction power and a healthy amount of CFM for this vacuum, in regards to performance, we're near and close to that average. Next, in regards to decibels, our vacuum peaks at 80 decibels compared to the average of 71. It's definitely a little bit on the louder side, but for most of you, having this in the room vacuuming at 80 versus your average vac at 71, it's not going to be noticeable because you're going to be hearing both of the vacuums regardless. Moving along to battery life though, very impressive from Yeedi. 300 minutes of runtime, almost double, slightly under double your typical robot vac. Now keep in mind that's going to be in the most pristine and perfect environment on the lowest suction setting. So realistically your mileage will vary, but nonetheless, very, very capable in long runtime and battery life. And the reason that's possible is due to the large 5200 milliamp hour battery. You'll notice that's substantially larger than the average. Moving right along, we'll talk about internal bin capacity. This is for the dustbin, 400 milliliter dustbin. The average is 420, but before you go, oh, well, this is actually below average, we tend to see that average skew higher for vacuums that don't have self-empty. And in this case, we have a self-emptying vacuum. So we get a very large dustbin in regards to self-emptying vacuums. What does that mean for you? Nothing, since it can empty itself. But if you didn't have self-empty, you want that larger bin capacity because that's going to prevent you from making as many trips to empty out your vacuum in the wastebasket. Now moving along to the cordless vacuum cleaner, suction power measured in air watts, 95 air watts max suction power. That's going to be about 40-ish air watts below the average. But a little bit surprising here in regards to max suction power measured in kPAs, which we measure here in the studio, we actually got above average results by 3 points. And that pattern continues with our max CFM that we record in studio, 36, which is a very solid score compared to the average of 29, so we're 7 points better. And how does that actually equate to the real world though? Well, same pattern here that we saw with the RoboVac we see with the cordless vacuum cleaner. So we slightly underperform the average, even even though spec-wise we're at or above average. Next, we have the decibels of the cordless vac. We peak at 81 decibels vacuuming on max suction power and carpet compared to the average of 86, so we're 5 decibels less. But realistically, you'll be hard-pressed to tell, you know, with this vacuuming in a room with another cordless vac, which one's quieter. You're going to be able to hear them both, but I wouldn't say they're exceptionally loud or anything like that. Technically, it's quieter than the average, whether you could actually notice a difference or not. And then in regards to weight, 6.2 pounds for this cordless vacuum cleaner. The average is 5.2, but that skews a little bit lower from some other vacuums that we're continuing to refine our data. About 6 pounds, that 5 to 7 pound range is what you would see. This is not a heavy vacuum by any means. Next, let's talk about LED lights. That's a feature that this vacuum does have, which is great to see. In our findings, 77% of cordless vacuum cleaners that we've tested have LED lights, and that's a trend that we continue to see going up regardless of how expensive the vacuum is. Speaking of expensive, let's talk about the cost of the C12 Combo. Some really interesting findings here. This is very aggressively priced for what it is. You'll notice that the 70 plus average is the average cost of a robot vac that we have tested. And guess what? It's the same price right now at the time of this video as the C12 Combo. So from our findings on paper, we actually exceeded most of the averages in regards to suction power, runtime, things like that. And then realistically, in our performance that we measure in-house, we were just slightly a little bit less than your average vac. So with all things being equal, you're getting just about the average robot vacuum experience for the average robot vacuum price, but we're also getting a cordless vacuum cleaner with self-emptying capabilities and mopping capabilities. So it's basically buy an average cleaning and performing robot vac, get a cordless vac for free, and a cool station where they both self-empty. That value is very, very aggressive for what this is. You'll notice that this should be a couple $100 more to factor in the cost of the cordless vacuum cleaner, which it doesn't. So where does that leave us? Well, let me share with you my final thoughts. Here's what you need to know. Buy an average robot vacuum cleaner at average price and get a free cordless vacuum cleaner with LED lights and self-emptying. That's going to be how you're going to look at this. For those of you in the market for both of these devices, it just makes sense to bundle everything together and get the C12 Combo. If you care about a certain feature though that's absent on either or of these, then that's going to probably lead you in other directions, which is totally fine. But from a wallet perspective, you'll be hard pressed to find a better value than what you're seeing here. It costs a lot of money just to get a cordless vacuum cleaner with self-empty on its own, and it costs a lot of money just to get a similarly performing robot vacuum cleaner. Now, again, so the value is tremendous there, so it's easy to overlook some of the shortcomings, like its navigation in regards to objects and things around the house. It's missing the mopping feature that we have on some other C12 models. Now, I know we have mopping on the cordless vac, but it's just not the same. It's more equivalent to like a Swiffer wet jet is how I would share my experience there. ZeroTangle brush, still get some tangles on it. LED lights are great though. For me personally, I think the biggest thing I'd want to see changed on the cordless vac is their controls at the top. 2 buttons, so very simple, but I'd like to know instantly which suction mode I'm at. I have to really listen in carefully to know, okay, here I'm on the suction mode that I want to be on. So maybe refining that a little bit or just giving us an auto mode. And with that suction being very powerful, when you push it on carpets with that max suction mode, it's not the easiest experience. You have a lot of resistance there. It's just not as smooth and fluid as if you were vacuuming on hard floors. So if you can get over some things like that, you'll be really pleased with this unit overall.